Imagine the coach in the opposing locker room when the team is losing to Air Bud. There's a dog hitting threes.
Exactly.
Can we guard anybody?
It's like, it was rough.
When I think of security, I think of security guards.
A lot of times they'll say, well, IT is IT, but it's not.
People watching are going to think to themselves, what is Redbird security?
Yep.
How does this work? Let's unwind all those terms.
For sure, yeah.
Oklahoma City sports fan, Wisconsin guy, go-giver, track coach, Boomer Sooner, Lamar Garrett is here. Lamar, it is good to have you here, my friend.
Nice to be here. Nice to be here for sure. Like, the mountains are a little different than the scenery that I'm used to.
So, okay, hold on. You're in Wisconsin, but you like all these Oklahoma City sports teams.
Yep.
What's the story behind it?
Well, born in Oklahoma, right? So growing up, to be honest, there was no Oklahoma professional league, right?
Right.
So we got lucky with the Thunder moving there. I think coming from Seattle, I believe. But when you're in Oklahoma, it's ingrained. Football is king, right? So OU football, I'm actually somewhat bald because of it. All the wins, the losses, heartbreaks. I'm sure you know about a few. But yeah, that's kind of the background there.
Okay, I'm trying to think if Oklahoma ever played Boise State in the past. I don't know. I just kind of forgot about that. Just kidding.
That had a lot of hair shedding at that point. I had an afro at the time, and it got real thin real quick.
So true story. I was at that game. We had nosebleed seats.
Okay.
My cousin is in Arizona.
Okay.
And he said, "Hey, I have some friends. The people he knew from work got drunk before the game, left. We got to sit in their nice seats, like in the lower area.
Hey, nice.
And I almost left that game.
Yeah, because it wasn't looking good at one point for Boise.
You throw a pick six in the fourth quarter, and I said, let's go. My buddy said, let's just see what'll happen. So we got to see the most iconic game that the franchise has ever.
It's unreal,
right?
yeah. And a friend of mine, which is funny, the guy in the secondary actually went to high school with me.
No kidding.
Yeah. So it was a gut punch for sure. I truthfully didn't even know how to process it for a long time. So yeah, it was rough.
Right. Dang. Well, I will tell you, whenever I think of the Oklahoma City Thunder, which congrats on the championship.
Thank you.
I think of Bill Simmons, the sports writer, calling the Thunder the zombie Sonics for a number of years. And now the Sonics, Seattle might
come back.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's awesome.
Man, so how'd you get from Oklahoma to Wisconsin?
Yeah, so I guess I'll speed run the coaching. Okay. So I always wanted to be a coach of some sort. First football, but me running track, it kind of navigated me into that path. And short run is a lot of volunteering to become a coach. Became a track coach, volunteering first at the University of Wisconsin, then getting other university jobs from there. Married my wife. She's from Wisconsin. So she's the boss. So not coaching anymore, but back in Wisconsin to be closer to her family.
So you married a girl from Wisconsin.
Yep.
You coached track in Wisconsin.
Yep.
Where did you coach track?
At the University of Wisconsin, and then my first actual job, because that was volunteering, first actual job was Illinois State, and then so I was 5 years there, and then at Kansas State for 5 years as well. Prior to that, a lot of volunteering. So volunteered in my high school for a year, volunteered at Kansas State for a year, and volunteered at Wisconsin for 2 years.
So is volunteering for track coaching kind of a normal process to get on a team?
It was normal for, I'd say, almost every sport up until I think about 3 years ago. They actually got sued because it's free work. So the way that it looked, for me, especially at Wisconsin, was, getting up at 4 a.m, going to Home Depot from 5 to 1:30 to work, actual paid job. Coaching from about 2 to 6, and then going and cleaning a radio station at night. And I did that for 2 years. It'll make you crazy, but I did that for 2 years to try and get into the coaching profession.
Man, so you were committed to coaching.
Oh yeah, I love it. Loved it a lot.
Home Depot, coaching, cleaning. That's
Yep. 4 hours of sleep a night. It's it was rough.
So, how tall are you, Lamar? Because I know you're a tall guy.
6'4".
6'4".
Yep.
Well, I'm bummed because I wanted to race Lamar for some online content. Dude, I would have taken him. I would have smoked him.
I just let him know, like, look, I'm going to pull both hamstrings, and I will be in Boise for a while. So he's like, I'll pass on that.
So you ran track.
Yep.
What were your events?
I was just a high jumper, not very athletic, but could jump, somewhat high. Yep.
So I think I did high jump in 8th grade.
Okay.
It shows you how committed I was.
Yeah.
But I was okay at it.
For sure.
What's the highest you ever jumped?
7'1.5".
Okay.
Yep.
Dude,
so
right on.
it was where I was at. I was the third guy on the totem pole. I would have been the first in a lot of other universities. But where I was at, third guy, the best guy jumped 7'7", and the second best guy jumped 7'7". The best guy jumped 7'7" &3/4".
Okay. And what's where did you go to? Where were you?
Yep, Kansas State.
Oh,
Yep.
you were at
Yep.
Kansas State.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, dang. Okay, so then you were not only running D1 track, but then coaching D1 track.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I knew you were way out of my realm athletic-wise, but I was like, we need to have like a 100-yard dash. 'Cause I don't know what your speed is there on the 40, but
Yeah, it's not fast anymore. It used to be. That was a different life.
have you ever seen these videos where it's like Derrick Henry racing kids at a camp?
Oh, yeah.
And just crushes
Yeah. It's like, come on, give him a chance, He has no mercy.
Dude, the epitome of no mercy is when Kobe, they were down by like 40 points or 50 in like some charity game. He just took over and scored like 70 points.
Yeah. Well, I always think about the Peyton Manning, the Saturday Night Live skit where he's yelling at the kids and beating them in the head, right? Awesome. Just awesome.
So good. It's so good.
Yeah.
Another one that kills me with sports is it's like it was one of these parodies, and it said, imagine the coach in the opposing locker room when the team is losing to Air Bud.
Oh,
They're like,
gosh.
guys,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a dog dunking on us. There's a dog hitting threes.
Exactly.
Can we guard anybody?
It's like, we're not doing something right here. It becomes a little rough.
So, man, how did you go from track and that grind and all the stretching and exercising
For sure.
to the opposite world where there's the mental stretch and exercise,
For sure.
kind of on the tech side?
Yeah. So, again, another long story short, when you're a coach, you kind of, learn the ins and out of athletics.
Okay.
And I say athletics because it's, I kind of got flack for it a couple of weeks ago. They're like, why are you calling it athletics? I'm like, it's the director of athletics. So it's an athletic department. It's athletics, right?
Okay.
So you learn the ins and outs. And the number one goal is to get to the highest level possible, right?
Okay.
So you're, not sleeping a lot, doing a lot of recruiting, a lot of coaching. And I got into it, to be honest, to be able to help the athletes become a little different or grow into the people that they're going to be, right? So they walk into the university as an 18-year-old, and they're going to leave as a 22, 23-year-old. They're going to be a completely different person.
Right.
And I wanted to help mold them in that process. And also win at the same time.
Sure.
So in that process of, guiding them, I also understood and started to learn the coaching side of it, which is kind of fun, kind of not. So I always thought that, and this is, impacting me today, but I always thought that, if I came in, worked really hard and got results, that would get me to where I want to be, right? But also, what I didn't learn and didn't know at the time was networking was the biggest part of it, right? So I could be doing things at a very high level, but if I didn't know anybody, I wasn't going to get any jobs, right? So in the transition from Illinois State to Kansas State, a few things happened where, it really just soured me on the profession. And, at that point in time, my wife was like, hey, we're done here. Because, again, when you have somebody who's moving around with you, it becomes a little bit more difficult on them because you're always in transit. So I have friends who were coaches who literally have lawn chairs as their furniture because they're in a different place every year, right? So once I was done there, I went back to Wisconsin and had no idea what I was going to do, but I did know that programming and security were a big thing. Well, programming went out the window, right, with ChatGPT and everything else. And then a hospital system actually got hit pretty hard. I was like, well, I need to go into the security realm. So that's how I ended up where I'm at.
Okay. So do you have, before we dive into Redbird, which we got a ton of stuff there to talk about.
For sure.
Do you have any lessons that you would say, like beyond what you just said, that you're like, hey, I would be remiss if I didn't mention this about track and what it taught me?
Absolutely. So the one thing I would say is, track and athletics in general. There's no hiding, right? If you are not doing the work, you're not putting in the work, you're, kind of giving 50% on anything that you're doing, the results won't be there at the end of it, right? So for me, I kind of internalize that in what I do now, right? If I'm not doing the work, I'm not going to get any of the results, right? So if I'm not, making calls and actually networking, talking with people, I'm not going to get the results. The work always is going to produce something on the back end, but you have to put the work in order to be successful. And that's every athlete, across the spectrum.
Okay. No, I mean, I feel like athletics at so many levels, whether it's
100%.
D1 track or it's 5-year-olds playing soccer,
100%.
There's lessons you're going to learn. Although on the opposite side of where you were, my kids are homeschooled. My wife doesn't do a lot of sports.
Yeah.
So my kids are in this league that's like, how you have AAU?
Yep.
Like there's the opposite league in our hometown where it's like no rules or whatever. One of my daughters, this is years ago, but she said, it's too competitive. And I said, okay, baby. I wanted to tell her, this is the wuss league. There's nowhere lower than this.
There's nothing else. There's no other league.
If this is competitive, we just have to do like art at home. Like there's nothing
for sure. That's the next level. Yeah, I mean, and the other part of it for me with athletics was, teaching lessons that, if you win or you lose, right? The one thing I always wanted was effort. And people will talk about, what do you call it? They'll say, did you try? Well, for me, I don't really know what trying is, right? There's either you give effort or you don't, right? So I could never be upset with an athlete. Let's say a quarterback, for instance. If a quarterback goes out, throws 2 interceptions and has a fumble, but literally when he analyzes the game, he can't really do anything wrong. Yes, the decisions probably could have been better, but he was doing everything he could to win. It's different than going out and being like, well, it was a third down and I figured I'd get it and, I made a mistake and I kind of halfway did what I was, you know what I mean? Like effort is the thing that I'm always looking for. And for me, myself, I internalized that and said, if I'm going to be doing something, then I'm going to give, everything that I can. Most of the time it's going to work out. Sometimes it won't.
Right. Well, I mean, I think of just this year. I mean, while we're recording in February,
for sure.
I mean, Indiana, they had a great run. I mean, they beat down Oregon like Oregon should be Oregon should be like in the WAC.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But if you look at Oregon's team, I don't think they did as much wrong. It wasn't a lack of effort. You just ran into a once or twice every decade level team.
And sometimes it's going to happen like that, right? Sometimes it's going to you're not going to get the result you want. But if you did everything you could, you can be happy with the result, right?
Right. You can say, hey, we couldn't have. It's like with our sales team. If you prospect and if you have a plan and if you execute the plan, you'll have some results. They may not be the results you want,
100%.
But you won't be able to look back and say, I didn't give it the effort.
No, 100%. And that's the biggest thing. And then I guess the third thing while we're on this is I kind of tended to understand that being around good people is kind of really all it's about, right? So like for now, our team at Redbird, especially our owners, Nick and Joe, they're just really good people. Yep. And you'll see it through athletics as well, coaching. If a coaching staff stays together for a long time, it's probably because the head coach is a good person and it's just a great work environment.
Yeah.
If they're in transit all the time and the head coach is the only one that's there, then it's tough.
Right.
It's a tough environment.
So I think I met Nick
Yep.
at the recent Indie Tech.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. I think he was in the lobby, I think.
Yeah. I was like, it was all kind of coming together.
Yes.
It's like Nick, Lamar, and I, LinkedIn bros. You know how we are.
For sure.
So tell me what it's like to work at Redbird and specifically your ownership and what you like about them.
Yeah. Oh, dude, awesome people. To be honest, very, very open, really good people. They're going to give you every opportunity that they can. At the end of the day, I look at it from just an opportunity standpoint, right? I actually came in, it was a year and a half ago to interview for a job as a desk guy, a tech guy. Now that's not me, right? But I have a couple of certifications to understand the space. And they basically were like, yeah, that's not going to work, but we think you can talk to people, right? So they gave me an opportunity to come in on the sales side of things. Both Nick and Joe, like I said, great people. They're not, egotistical in any way. And they're going to, at the end of the day, provide more value than they take in payment to both our clients and and to the staff. So one story that I like to get into is literally the third, fourth month I was there. We have this thing, well, I guess it'd be fifth month, but we have this thing called Summerfest in Wisconsin. It's basically just a big party of bands and whatnot. One of our clients out this way actually said, hey, I'd like this band, jokingly, to one of our help desk guys, and got back to Nick. He's like, well, let's fly her out, get her a hotel, let her attend Summerfest. And that's what they did over the weekend. I'm like, I've never really seen that. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
You know, it's amazing. I have a theory that they're one of the most unappreciated leadership skills is not suppressing other people's ideas
100%,
or ambitions.
100%. Yep, absolutely. And I learned that through coaching, right? Being around some coaches who maybe had, questionable motives, where they want to do what they're going to do, and they want to, help themselves. And the way that I look at it, and this is what Nick and Joe do a really, really good job of, is they allow input from every realm, right? And when they do that, I think the company can grow and thrive. So I think you're 100% right.
So you joined Redbird. Did you know what the company did?
Had no idea.
Okay. Oh, no idea. Okay.
I just knew that it was, hey, we help from a security side, and that's it.
So whenever I see the word security, I think of security guards.
Yep.
I mean, I'm a simple man. I'm an insurance agent. We just had one of our insurance carriers come to our office.
Yep.
And they're an awesome carrier.
Yep.
And one of their reps said, "Are any of your sales team working on life sciences?" And as a joke, I said, "Listen, 3/4 of our salespeople shouldn't be doing anything with the word science in it. Like, that's not who we are."
Yeah.
But when I think of security, I mean, I think of security guards.
For sure. You're not the first one either.
Right, I'm not the first one.
Yep.
So I'm assuming that people watching are going to think to themselves, well, what is Redbird Security?
Yep.
How does this work? Give me the 20-second elevator pitch, and then let's unwind all those terms.
For sure. Yeah, so Redbird Security is an insurance-specific MSP, so we handle IT and cybersecurity. What we do is we help agencies become compliant, more efficient, and then allow them to operate with a high degree of security so that they don't get breached.
So you said compliance, efficiency, and security.
Absolutely.
Now, you used the term MSP.
Yep.
I'm 85 years old.
Yeah.
Tell an 85-year-old man what MSP means.
Yep, managed service provider. So, so basically, we're managing their technology for them.
Okay. So one of the things I think Nick and I talked about a little bit at Indie was, does what you do exclude or push out their current IT infrastructure, or is your goal to work alongside an IT guy?
Yeah, so if they have internal IT, so we have some clients like this, if they have internal IT, what we'll do is work alongside of them by providing them our security stack, and then allowing them to handle the day-to-day.
Okay.
And, if they need to escalate it to us, they can at that point.
Okay.
And then if there's an agency that doesn't have internal IT, then we'll act as that internal IT. What we don't do obviously is, if it's another vendor, we kind of let the vendor do their thing, and we won't even come in at that point.
So what does another vendor mean?
Yeah, so we are a third-party vendor.
Okay.
So a company like us. So usually what you'll see is internal IT. So they'll have an agency will have their own IT department, and then other agencies will hire outside IT similar to us.
Okay. So you would come along and build up an internal IT person, and I'm assuming there's a level of maybe insecurity that happens when an internal IT person says, "Wait a second, am I getting fired? Am I going to be replaced?"
Yep.
Do you see that often? How do you work
100%.
through that?
Yeah. So, and we a lot of experience with that. We want to be able to talk with the IT person, so the director of IT, let them know, look, our job isn't to replace you, it's to enhance your security and allow you to do your job day to day. We have really good relationships with all of our clients that have internal IT. But yes, that does happen for sure.
Okay. So you have internal IT you have to work alongside.
For sure.
So you mentioned the compliance part of it.
Yep.
So walk me through how insurance agencies can be out of compliance, what you typically see, and how you provide that compliance for them.
So think of, let's say an insurance agency does business in New York or California, right? huge compliance standards and regulation in those states,
Okay.
right? From data handling to data retention to security that they need to provide services, to their clients.
Okay.
What we'll do is just by onboarding them, we'll help them be more compliant, meaning we'll bring them up to those standards so that they can operate within those environments.
Okay.
Without the compliance, and you'd be surprised, a lot of agencies are not in compliance. Without being compliant, sorry, I can't talk. Without being compliant, what will end up happening is they'll, get audited, and then that's a whole nother nightmare, and they'll end up bald like me.
So let's take a state without high compliance versus a state with compliance.
For sure.
You have data handling. You have all these things that they have to do.
Yep.
Specifically, what does that mean? Is this like retention of records,
Yep.
the things you hold on to or can't?
Yep.
Like, give me some examples of a low compliance state versus a high compliance state.
Oh boy. So I guess a lot of places have decent compliance standards, but let's go Wisconsin, for example. Wisconsin, almost every state goes off kind of the federal framework and builds their own. So Wisconsin, from a data retention standpoint, requires 7 years of data to be collected and saved, right? Anything after that you can get rid of. And it starts to get into a gray area, after that 7 years. Now, let's go into New York, right? New York is going to want you to have certain access controls or multi-factor or just a certain security so that you can honestly handle the personal information and health information of your clients, right? So they're going to be completely different in terms of, how they regulate the sharing and saving of data. But we want to be able to, let's say, ABC agency does business in every state. We're basically going to say what's the highest regulation that we have, make them compliant with those regulations, and then at the end of the day, you're compliant with the highest regulation, so you're going to be compliant with the least.
So the high water mark of compliance ends up being what you need to enforce within the agency.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That along with a couple other things.
Okay. So I'm trying to think how I can crack a Mondani joke with New York, but I can't find anything. So I'm gonna have to walk away from it for now. So compliance, you have the handling of the data.
Yep.
And I think we ran into this because we had to readjust this a while ago, but it's a real thing. So let's say you have an insurance agency. Plenty of agencies are just getting on their feet, and they have a gifted owner who's building out a team.
For sure.
Let's say you have 1, 2, 3, 10 people. I don't know, 15. Yep. But things like how to engage a service like what you're doing are coming front and center. It's no longer okay to have a local IT guy from church.
Yep.
You're like, hey, we have to, we're going into California, or we're in California, we haven't done anything.
Yep.
You come along, what's the first thing you're going to ask them?
Well, to be honest with you, it won't even be the compliance part of it.
Okay.
It's going to be the efficiency part of it.
Okay.
So what makes us different, because we're insurance specific, right, and this is, in my opinion, with any insurance specific vendor, we're going to understand your process. We're built around that, right? So the sales team, up down to customer service, we're built around it. So what we do is we will operate with the technology, but we'll also help you with your agency management system.
Okay.
Right. So HawkSoft, we're applied, applied partners. So we're going to help the entire gamut. But basically, I look at it from an efficiency standpoint. What are you able to get to, right, in your average every day, right? So what we see is a lot of times when the technology isn't aligned, a lot of times agents and agency owners are fighting with the technology, and they're just not as efficient as they should be.
Okay, so part of what you're able to say is, hey, if you're more efficient with your tech, your team will have more time.
And you'll make a lot more money.
You'll make more money. Yeah,
100%.
that profit. You ever heard of Sidkins? That name ring a bell?
No.
So they're a coaching firm in Florida.
Okay.
I worked for 2 agencies, actually, that use them. Okay. But their whole shtick was, if you do our system, we'll raise your profitability level.
Yep.
Now, the things they've done, a lot of agencies have incorporated.
Yep.
But 30 years ago, it was insane. Like, it was just mind-blowing. So they've done a really good job. But what you're saying about the efficiencies, I think Sidkins did a lot of that with everything except the tech.
Yep.
It wasn't a tech conversation back then. It was a, what kind of accounts do you focus on conversation.
For sure.
What about you mentioned a third thing. I think, was it retention standard?
It was, but
Okay.
but let's stay with the efficiency part
Sure,
of it,
sure,
this
go
is
for
a
it.
lot of what gets missed. So Nick, really good guy. He he took 10 years to essentially earn the business of one of our clients.
Okay.
And the sticking point was like, I don't know if I need you guys, and he bounced around to a lot of places. Decent sized agency. He, finally came to us last year. Within the first month, they were more efficient. They were making more revenue, and he was kind of blown away. And what I mean by that is, take me for instance as a former track coach. In my day, I thought that operating with technology was just supposed to be like this. So I would scan things I believe it was the Q drive. Scan things to the Q drive. It would show up, in a file on our computer. We could then take it, use it, do whatever we needed to do with it. Sometimes the scan wouldn't work. I'd run back and forth from my office to the printer scanner. I'd say 5 or 6 times, wasting 15 minutes, 20 minutes a day, right? Those are things that happen within an agency. So on average, the average agent wastes literally 22 minutes a day, troubleshooting technology. And these are things that are hidden, that you don't even see, that you don't know are there. Right. So if you think about that, take 22 times, let's say 20 agents. That's hours a day that you could literally get back to focus on your clients, to focus on growing and have everything pointing in the right direction in terms of revenue.
Right. Well, so here's a thought from just the agency perspective, because meeting with agents and talking to them, let's pretend an agency has $3 million in revenue.
Okay.
And now with AI and how integrated it is in the AMS systems they're using, agents are saying, my staff's overwhelmed, or they're not, or should I hire someone else? Well, if you can make it efficient, if you can make things efficient, then that next hire is delayed.
Yep.
The current employees are empowered.
100%.
And they're saying, well, I didn't bring on someone and pay a total package of XYZ dollars. So that gets people's attention really quickly.
100%. Yeah. And it's something that, to be honest, I wouldn't have believed if I wasn't in the environment myself.
Sure.
So, I've been there, February? So a year and 2 months.
Okay.
And the amount of troubleshooting I've had to do, because obviously we run the same systems, is zero.
Yeah.
Right. Literally zero. And it's been able to open up a lot of my day.
Well, you got the credibility. I see your stuff on LinkedIn. You do all these AI videos, and I can't figure that stuff out to save my life. You're super creative with that.
Hey, I enjoy it. It's the creative side that I really like doing. And to be honest, I started playing around with AI stuff mainly because Mark Cuban said you're going to need it in the future. So I'm like, I better learn it. So yeah, I've played around with it quite a bit.
Cuban, that guy, man. I'll tell you what. I respect him. I respect his.
For sure.
I mean, obviously he's a good business guy, but
100%.
Even beyond Shark Tank or whatever else, I love how he's run the Mavericks.
Yep.
Because I don't think he's reactionary. I just think he's a good owner. I don't agree with him on everything in life.
100%. Sits back and lets them do what they want to do. Like for me, it's kind of in the same vein as like Dana White, right? Like I look at him and I'm like, I don't agree with everything. But man, he knows what he's doing. Yeah. He empowers his people, and he has a great product.
Dude, I mean, UFC, I'm not like a native UFC fan, but I watch it occasionally with friends, and I'm like, I can see how this is so popular.
Yeah.
And I can see how it's popular for a certain demographic.
100%.
And then people like my wife, she's like, what on earth is going on? I showed her like one clip of this epic end of a fight, and she's like, why are we watching this right now? This is amazing.
It's like Gladiator for sure. But again, he has a process. He understands what the product is. I've heard a lot of his interviews. Yeah. And yeah, he's amazing.
So, okay, let's pretend we have a big map of the United States in front of us. Okay. And we are saying Redbird's clientele has been kind of historically where?
Every state, I think, except Hawaii and Alaska. Okay. For the most part, yeah.
They're a long way away. They're hard to get to. They're in their own little world.
Exactly. We're in the process of it with Hawaii for sure.
Okay. So, and where was the company founded?
Wisconsin.
Okay.
Yep. So initially inside of an agency, and the IT department broke off, and that's kind of why we ended up sticking with insurance.
No kidding.
Yep.
Okay. So is that part of like Nick's story?
Yep.
Is that they were at the agency, broke off. So then then he is native to the insurance industry, not learning the insurance
100%.
industry. Okay,
so built around it, like literally anything that an agency would need, that is, kind of our foundation.
Okay. And then did it start with like Midwest relationships and kind of expand from there?
Yeah. So he started going in the Applied Net conferences. Used to be called something else. I won't say it because it does sound like a swear word. Because when he first, I was like, "What did you say?" But it used to be called something else. And he's been in those forums, in those meetings, and at those events for almost 30 years.
Okay. Well, so there's different realms of insurance agencies,
For sure.
and you'll get to, you're seeing this, Nick sees this. There's the people going to Applied Net that are saying, how do I learn more? But then there's a ton of folks that go, I'm fine. I sell insurance.
100%.
I can relate to that because left to my own devices, I wouldn't know what I was doing.
For sure.
I mean, we joke that we don't even, like some of our accounts, our producers don't have an AMS.
Yeah. Oh, really?
So we have, I think, 25 salespeople. 2 of them, 1 or 2 don't have an AMS. Here's why. We went to one of the guys. He'd been around for 40 plus years. So he's an older gentleman and he's a good family friend.
Okay.
And said, hey, how often are you using Epic? And he goes, oh, I'm just in there every once in a while. We said, we can see the stats. You haven't logged in 2 years. Why are we paying for a login?
For sure.
You just work with the team anyway. Yep. So that's me left to my own devices. Yeah. So there's plenty of folks out there.
100%.
The fields of opportunity are wide open because this isn't going away.
Yep.
It's not like the online pirates are going to like turn it down a notch. Like they're like leveling up their game.
For sure.
Do you guys do so you guys have an internal team of people that would handle client 100%. Calls. Like if I'm on a laptop in a Starbucks, I could call Redbird and say, hey, my Outlook says I need an update. It won't do something. Can you fix this? And then your team would remotely log on?
Yes. Okay. So we have a full help desk staff, and you can literally call in 1,000 times a day. What we've been good at, and which I've been pretty surprised at Redbird, is the framework that we work within is, in my opinion, industry top. So we will respond to any type of request within about 3 to 5 minutes, and we'll have it resolved in about 17.
Wow.
The industry standard is about 2 hours, and I feel like it's a little bit too long to wait, right? It doesn't matter if it's a login or something isn't, working right. It might not be an emergency to us, but it is to you, right?
Sure.
You need business to continue moving. You could be in the middle of a binding process, right? And it could be, catastrophic if that it doesn't bind at that point in time. So we want to be able to get it done literally within under 20 minutes for sure.
Okay. Wow.
And you talked about updating, and this is the education side of things. So for us, what we want is when our clients log out for the day, right? We want them to restart their computers and then go home, have a good time. What we do at that point in time is we update everything. Update the operating system, update Applied, update literally everything. So you're not in the middle of work, on a Tuesday, busy, phone calls are coming in, you're replying to emails, and I'm sure everybody's been in the situation where all of a sudden you get the blue screen and it starts updating, right?
Oh, no.
We don't want that, right? So we update everything at the end of the day so that when you walk in, you literally only have to focus on insurance.
Okay, so is it a cloud-based backup?
It's it's however you're set up. Okay. So if you have servers, which is, now being old school, but if you have servers, we'll work in that environment. If you have a cloud-based, we'll work in that environment as well.
Okay.
Yep.
So I didn't know if everyone used cloud or if everyone used server. Yep. I felt so smart saying, is it cloud-based? I was like, dude, I'm like an IT guy now.
No, for sure. Yeah, everything's moving in that direction for sure.
Okay. So the agents, I'm just putting myself in the shoes of an agent. If an agent out there hasn't seen this, it's a trip. So the help desk would be, I'm looking at Outlook, something probably pretty simple is not working, but I just need somebody to look over my shoulder and fix it.
Yep.
You call Redbird and hi, this is Tony in Wisconsin or whatever.
Yep.
Hey, this is Brian with Hartwell, blah, 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 or whatever the agent would say.
Yep.
And they will say, may I please take
Yep.
over your computer?
Yep.
You say yes. It says Tony is directing. And then you see Tony clicking buttons on the computer.
Yep.
The first time I saw this, because we have a very similar product,
Yep.
I said, this is straight up like
it's
NSA
terrifying. Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, this is like, this
Always
is
somebody watching. Yeah.
Yeah, we are. I mean, I'm like, this has to be Skynet like type stuff going on here. But is that normal? Do you feel like we'll see that a lot more in the future?
Yeah, it's normal. For us, we go into a different process. So I'd say about 90% of the time we've seen, the issue that they're dealing with just because we're, working in that environment. So a lot of times we don't even have to get into the computer. We can say, okay, this is what's happening, do A, B, and C, boom, it's fixed, right? I'd say 95% of the time we don't run into a lot of the issues just because the way that we set things up.
Mm-hmm.
Our job at the end of the day is so that you have minimal disruptions.
Okay.
Right? So the way that we set things up, you shouldn't have any disruptions at all. So a perfect example is we walked into an agency out in Wisconsin and they're like, yeah, we reset the printer 3 times a day. And we're like, why? You're right. Like, this doesn't make any sense. And those are things that people do throughout the day. They reset the printer, they reset their Wi-Fi. And it's like, how about we just fix it so that it works, right? So we fix their issue, and they continue to be up and running.
Well, I probably am like a spoiled kid in that we have a CIO who not only uses a third-party vendor, but also is very knowledgeable. 100%. So we've had years of development there.
Yep.
But what do new clients typically look like? What makes a person, so like with insurance, let me just go back here. We have 2 things that happen. Statutory requirements.
Yep.
So someone has to buy work comp because they're in a state, or they have a contractual requirement. A big company like Facebook says, in order to do the landscaping on our property, you need a $5 million umbrella.
Yep.
Because if someone hurts themselves, Facebook's a huge target.
Yep.
On occasion, people say, I want more comfort, so I want to get an umbrella just because I want that.
100%.
That's not all the time.
Yep.
What do you typically see drives clients to Redbird?
Boy, it's a lot. I guess I'll start on the security side of things. Okay. So the security side of things is kind of what isn't always talked about. So what you'll see is what we've seen a lot of is some people having, or agencies having, cyber insurance. Right. And they'll say, hey, can you look at this? And when we look at it, we'll say, okay, the company is wanting you to have A, B, and C in place before they even give you this policy. A lot of times they will already have this policy, right? There's no MFA, there's no access controls. So they're essentially just throwing money into the trash, right?
Oh, because it'll be declined.
100%. Right? So we look at that and we're like, we might want to, we might want to move in here to help you here. So that's one end of it.
Okay.
The other side of it, again, is going to be the efficiency side.
Okay.
The efficiencies that you get with an insurance-specific IT, it's unmatched.
Okay.
It truthfully is.
Okay, so they're saying we are not efficient enough in our office with what we're doing.
Well, the issue is a lot of times, and again, for me, as I can go back to my experience as a coach, I thought, I'm just going to have to mess around with this printer, scanner, for 15, 20 minutes a day. That's just kind of the process, right? I guarantee you right now, within your office and almost every office throughout the country, there are things that people do that they're just like, I'm just doing it, But if they were efficient and everything was pointing in the right direction, they would just be more productive, right? So one thing that we see, and again, we have competitors. I think they do a good job, but a lot of times we'll pick up a client. Like we picked up a client, I'd say three months ago, and we're like, how are they operating in this environment, right? And when we actually talked to them at AppliedNet, they said every time they have a meeting, they have to go and reset, 3 or 4 different things. Like, that's a waste of time. How about we just fix it first and foremost, and then kind of go from there? So there's a lot of things that are done that either a big thing at Indie Tech, right? You have a lot of shiny new objects, but not a lot of them are used, right? Or the technology isn't aligned in the right, all pointing in the right direction. So there are inefficiencies that exist within agencies. And when you have an insurance-specific vendor, and again, not even us, any any insurance specific vendor, they'll get you pointed in the right direction.
So have you found that being found as a vendor, like going to these conferences, has been really helpful to for your business?
Well, it's been helpful, but it's also an educational. What do I call it? There's a lot of education that needs to happen, right?
Okay.
So, and again, I don't blame the agents at all, or agency owners. I was literally in the same boat, right? It's literally like me being, a coach and expecting the parents and the student athlete to understand the rule book. Like nobody understands it except the people on the inside.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of times they'll say, well, IT is IT. And I'm like, why?
Totally.
But it's not, right? And they're like, well, how are you different? But in those settings, right, we're standing at a booth, right? A lot of people, unless they're just, been to vendor after vendor and they're fed up, a lot of people don't want to hear the educational, part of it. And
Sure.
It's on me to be able to have a better pitch, to have a better elevator pitch so that they understand it.
Yeah. I feel like anything that's not required for a business, you have to turn in taxes or whatever.
Yep.
But even take taxes, you won't change accountants unless you see a need.
100%.
So seeing the need
100%.
is not always there. I mean, I can't tell you how many things we've made tech change-wise where I thought, and I don't think this as much anymore, but I would think, why are we making a change?
Yep.
And especially some of our employees that are, maybe getting closer to the end of their careers. They're like, why are we doing all this stuff?
Yeah.
Why does this even matter?
No, I understand. And a lot of it comes down to just not having the education. And again, it's not on the agents at all. It's on us to be able to provide a better message, right?
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is a lot of times they'll say, okay, essentially from an IT standpoint, they usually always start out with the cheapest option, right? And one thing that I've learned about the IT internet space is, a lot of times they'll get you on price. So let's say you're a new agency, you have 5 agents, and you're the agency owner, and you're like, I got this website, I got this domain. If I look at it now, I can look at it and tell you, you have absolutely no protection because you're paying, ABC domain host $99 a month, and it's a great deal. But what's going on is this opening you up to a lot of potential attacks that would literally destroy the business, right? And it goes into the same realm with IT, right? A lot of places will say, hey, we'll get you with a cheap price, and then they'll tier it. So they'll say the first tier, it's this much a month, but, the second premium tier is this much, right? Well, we look at it, an agency needs what an agency needs, right? I can't, let's take nutrition, for instance, right? You can get by for a while, but after a while, it's going to catch up with you,
right?
It's the exact same thing with an agency. If all of a sudden, an attack happens, or hopefully this doesn't happen, but somebody is auditing the business, I mean, it's going to be devastating. Right. So an agency needs what an agency needs. So we have that framework to, come in and do those things for that agency. And it's, the IT part of it is a huge educational piece.
Well, and I am totally agreeing with you and I'm agreeing with the methodology you're using, because you're being present. You're able to tell what you do, explain what you do. You're there, Nick's there. Most agency owners are late to the party. I say that as a person who, if I ran an agency, I wouldn't even know there was a party.
Yep. And that's normal.
And that's normal, but this is not going away. It will only become more important.
It's accelerating.
Thank you, man. That's more track terms. Hey,
For sure.
So, man, I think Redbirds has some exciting days ahead. I know you already have a great company, but just even seeing the awareness that's happening now is really good.
For sure.
We met on LinkedIn.
Yep.
We connected that way. And I know you brought some books along. Tell me a little bit about what you're reading and
for sure.
what you have here.
Well, so I want to go to the LinkedIn part of it first.
Do it.
I got to thank you because I reach out to a lot of people on LinkedIn, right? And really, it's like, hey, for you specifically, it's like, hey, we want to be involved in more insurance-specific things, right? We're part of the PIA, we're part of the Big I, and a lot of other organizations. And we usually, when I reach out, it's just white noise, right? It's gone. It's into the void. And you actually reached back out and said, hey, I think you were on vacation at the time. You're like, I'll give you a call. You called me, you talked about things, and then we've kind of built that relationship from there. So I got to thank you there. I also have to, again, this is go into the reading, but talk about Chris Paradiso. Ever since I met him at IndieTech, right? He's been like, hey, read this book. I've read 2 or 3 different books that he's given to me. And the truth of the matter is he doesn't have to, right? Yeah. But he's been open. He's taken phone calls. He's listened. And then also Bo Pilgrim. He has an agency out in Louisiana, but he also has a business with VAs. So he's been at a couple of places as well. And then obviously I got to talk about loss ratio on.
He's so good.
Yeah,
so good.
Yeah, he's awesome.
So good.
Yeah, so met him in Minnesota at a PIA event. And at the time I was like, man, what is this? So met him out there, talked to him literally the whole conference, and then literally called him. And he's like, yeah, let me set aside some time. So we've been, talking back and forth. That's kind of where the AI videos go.
Oh, nice.
For sure. So going to reading. So I got the Go-Giver.
Hold on real fast. So let's do that. I just want to give a shout out to, I don't know Chris super well. Talked to him one time with you. Yep. You were there. Yep. His gear seems really high.
Oh, yeah.
Good guy. I don't know Bo super well. I've never met him. Loss ratio has to be the final boss of insurance influencer, whatever. I mean, he's just
awesome.
The creativity levels are just
100%
amazing. But go ahead.
Yeah. So I got the Go-Giver. I guess I'll show it to the camera here. So it's kind of what we at Redbird, base everything on, right? And a lot of it for us, they have a lot of things that you follow throughout this as a parable. And one of the things that we follow is give more in value than you take in payment, right? Okay. So for our clients and anybody that we run across, we want to be able to enhance not only their agency, but everybody who we come across within that agency, right? So that could be, literally our clients can call me and they can call our owners at any time, right? And people, when they hear that, they're like, there's no way. But all the time, people are calling Nick to just talk, right? So we want to be able to give more in value than we take in payment. And then obviously traction here. It's the EOS system. I think it's called the Entrepreneurial Operational System. Basically helps you focus in on growth. There's a lot of pillars to it, so it helps you focus in on growth and at the same time helps you with work-life balance as well. So I like to hand these books out. I send them to, even if we don't get the business, I send them to their agency owners because I think it's a good thing to learn. And obviously, I think you've read The Go-Giver, right?
Read The Go-Giver.
And Traction, you haven't read.
I got to read it.
Yeah, I actually brought these for you. So I'll keep The Go-Giver, but I'll give Traction to you just because, I think it really helps. And like I said, read it. Take anything out of it that you want. It could be 1 or 2 things, but it's something that has really helped our company and helped a lot of agencies. Like when we get on a call, they're like, yeah, we're doing Traction too. We got rocks. And I'm like, okay, sounds good. And I also have to say that Chris Paradiso recommended, it was a book by Patrick Bet David, Choose Your Enemies Wisely. Yes, unbelievable book.
Great.
I
great
was
book.
shocked how he recommended it, and I'm like, okay, I don't know, right? I literally found myself, because I listened to him on Audible or audiobook, and so I found myself just trying to find things to do so I can continue to listen, right?
Yeah.
And the second one was Man's Search for Meaning, which is a completely different book.
Viktor Frankl?
Yeah, completely different, but it has a lot of themes in it that I think are, foundational to anybody being successful. And the big theme in the book is, at the end of the day, you cannot control what anybody else does, right? Like at all, but you can control how you respond to it.
Interesting.
And that's, obviously being in his situation, that really hits home.
Yeah, well, especially with Frankl. I mean, he wrote it after being in a concentration camp. Dude, that's heavy.
Yeah. That's
way heavier than me talking about football on a podcast, right?
No, for sure.
So
it was wild.
I think I have Man's Search for Meaning in my Audible.
Yep.
That being said, I almost feel like there's certain books where I have 3 ways I read books. Number 1 is just listen on Audible and don't review it.
Yep.
The second would be I read the book because it's not on Audible, and that's fairly rare. But the best way I can tell anyone to read a book is to, like here's one I want to read called The Patriarch. It's about John F. Kennedy's dad.
Okay.
And how he basically set their family up to be a dynasty.
Yes.
And he created a narrative that they were a dynasty
Yep.
back when that was not very common.
Yep.
But what I'll do with this is listen and then go back and highlight parts that I like. So
Awesome.
I have one other recommendation for you.
Okay.
And this is going to be closer to Viktor Frankl than it will be to Patrick Bet-David.
For sure.
But it's a guy named David Brooks.
Okay.
And he wrote a book called The Road to Character.
Okay.
And each chapter is really long, but it tells the story of a famous person. And so, for instance, Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Okay.
It's not about him being this great leader, president, whatever, general. I think that's about it. This is his chapter. It's about how, as a kid, he had, was it him? Or am I thinking of somebody else? Brooks talks about how it was actually very normal to have a lot of your siblings die, like in the 1800s.
At that point in time, yeah.
So that shapes your character.
100%.
And it forms who you are, knowing you can't control life.
Yep.
And so those are the types of lessons where I'm so glad that I actually read that one rather than listen, because I feel like I retained more.
Yep.
Man, a book shape people.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, you read a good book. I mean, as you can see, Chris is giving you great recommendations.
Yeah. Well, so for me, I'll be honest, I didn't read at all until the pandemic. And I was like, I want to write a book. So I started reading. I think during the pandemic, I was at home for 4 months. I read 17 books, like physical, like literally physical books. And then just been reading ever since. So what I found is I try and read, or I guess listen to books that are like kind of deep and heavy. But anything that's like Malcolm Gladwell, right? Like historical, I like to actually read those, right?
Yeah.
So I for his books are really easy to read for some reason, so I just kind of consume them.
Right.
But I found, listening to a podcast, the guy said that a book contains about 11 to 15 years of knowledge, right? And he's like, why wouldn't you go, use that to your advantage?
Right.
So I'm like, let's do it. So I try and consume as many books as possible. There are two that had, besides the ones that we've talked about, that have had an impact. One is The Psychology of Money, letting people, it basically breaks down why people do the things that they do. And then when Warren Buffett actually, became a millionaire based on compounding. And then the other one is The Simple Path to Wealth.
Interesting.
That is, an unbelievable book for sure.
So, okay. And I know we're getting close to landing the plane here, but I have a recommendation for you, because your book reading training is beyond just normal reading.
Yep.
Are you familiar with Goodreads?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Are you on Goodreads?
My wife is.
You got to get yourself on Goodreads. No, so here's what I've liked about it is that, you're a person who, running track, you clearly have some competitive genes in you, and you want to strive to level up in these areas.
Yep.
I found with Goodreads, it was great positive reinforcement, because it's a Facebook that's only for reading.
Yeah.
And you have no other negativity there. So you'll see, oh, hey, like let's pretend you became friends with Chris Paradiso.
Yep.
I think I mispronounced his last name.
No, I think that's right.
Okay.
That's right.
But you would see, like, if he's on there hypothetically, he would be updating, here's a book I just started. Oh, okay. Like, so you're getting all these great ideas for books. So you can start following business people and see what they're reading.
See what they're reading. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, now I have to get on it.
And then you set a goal for yourself each year.
For sure.
And then you're like, oh, I'm falling behind, and my friends are ahead, and I got to, and it's unspoken, but it's been rewarding for me to be on there.
It's awesome. Yeah. Like I said, reading is, I think it accelerates your knowledge, so much. So for me, like I look at it, I'm like, I need to take advantage of this, right? Just kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. Lamar, it has been so good to talk to you. I love what you're doing with Redbird. I love the past experience you had with track, how you transferred that. And I think what you're doing is really important for the industry. So may your tribe increase as we go forward.
Appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.